Beautiful Bucharest is the setting for a mouth-watering Champions League last 16 side tonight. The Blues square up against La Liga leaders Diego Simeone's Atletico Madrid. This is a big one, isn't it? This is a big one. Hello and welcome to Matchday Live. I'm really looking forward to this one. Joined, of course, by Jason Cundy, Pat Nevin and Zach Jello. Boys, I'm going to come to you in a second, but let's go straight into it because the team news is out. Obviously, due to COVID restrictions, there's no one in Bucharest for us tonight other than playing staff. So I've got the team for us. In goal, Eduard Mendy ahead of Kepa Arrizabalaga. We did wonder whether there'd be a change in goal tonight. Back three, it looks like captain by Cesar Azpilicueta, Andreas Christensen and Antonio Rudiger. Callum Hudson-Odoi, Marcos Alonso, Jorginho, Mateo Kovacic, Mason Mount, Timo Werner and Olivier Giroud. Stacked bench, obviously because of Europe, we're allowed more substitutes. Kepa, Caballero, Kanté, Abraham, Pulisic, Zuma, Chilwell, Ziyech, Gilmour, James, Havertz and Emerson. Very quickly, the Atleti team as well. Just to scan across, there's some names that obviously jump out. Oblak in goal, everyone knows about him. He's very, very good. Llorente, Koke, Saul in the middle, Joao Felix, and I'm sure we'll talk about him a little bit later on. Luis Suarez leading the attack for Atletico Madrid tonight. Boys, good evening. Jace, they don't get much bigger than this, do they?
No, the Champions League is always a special competition, and to have done so well in the group stage, get to this stage, you think, top the group, nice, easy fixture. Who we got? Yeah, that Atleti. Just goes to show sometimes top of the group means absolutely nothing. But look, it is what it is. They'll be looking at that also thinking we could have done a little bit better ourselves probably. So it's going to be a very tough game. We know that. It's only half time. Whatever happens after the full-time whistle here. Because it's an away game, for us, I feel an away goal will be absolutely crucial. Not necessarily that vital, but it really can hinge whether you get that away goal. And of course, for them, they have two away games, whatever way you look at it. This is not their home game. Through COVID, we understand that they cannot play their place and we can't travel there. So it may just slightly swing it in our favour. But you're absolutely right, Joe. These games are fantastic. Just a huge shame that the fans can't be there.
Absolutely right, mate. Pat, we're used to Atletico being tough opposition. They're notoriously very hard to break down, very tough to play against. They're kind of, I suppose, they're ruthless in terms of they're so consistent in being a difficult game to play against. At the moment, you know, we had this little discussion in the Play Predictor tease earlier on, how good La Liga is. But where does this Atleti team rank amongst the best in Europe at the moment for you?
I thought you were going to say amongst the best Atleti teams. And I don't think it's the best Atleti teams over the years. And it sounds odd because they're top of La Liga by 3 points just now. But in the top European teams, I still wouldn't put this Atleti team at the moment. We can talk about it afterwards, but I wouldn't put them as the favourites to win this competition, in the top 3 or 4 favourites to win this competition. So we certainly have got an opportunity. It's going to be a really tough one. You're absolutely right. They're well known for their defensiveness. We'll talk about all their defenders. They're still, even though they've got a number injured, they've still got a pretty strong looking defence there. But what surprised me is how many attack-minded players he's sticking the team tonight. I thought it'd be a little bit more standoffish about this game, but no. Diego Simeone has decided he needs to get something out of this game. He doesn't want to turn up at Stamford Bridge behind. So I think we're going to have one of the most open games that Chelsea's had under Thomas Tuchel. I think it's a team that will attack us, and that might suit us.
I'm just wondering, perhaps, if Jace, he's overheard you already and he's aware that he thinks this is 2 away games, so he gets away goals in both games, because it does seem that he's gone very attack-minded in that aspect. We didn't quite expect that. And Zach, just on that, because they have a lot of attacking players, they've got a lot of talent in that front line. Joao Felix and Luis Suarez as a front two, you don't really get much better than that, do you? They're going to be very, very big tests for Chelsea tonight.
Yeah, it's kind of the apprentice learning from the master of sorts. I mean, we don't have to go into too much detail about Luis Suarez. We've seen him in the Premier League, we've seen him in the Champions League, seen him in the World Cup. He's a guy that wins at all costs. He's built into that Atleti mode of taking your chances again, putting everything on the line for your club and doing all the utmost you can. And Joao Felix is such a talented young individual who is so young and really is learning from one of the best strikers he can possibly learn to maybe to hone his craft and develop. I mean, it's good to maybe see that we are playing a 3 at the back now. So if they are trying to play 2 up top, and with Rudiger, Cesar and Christensen, I mean, they probably will have tougher challenges at some points during this season, especially when you come up against Manchester United in this weekend and Liverpool the weekend after. So this is kind of like the beginning of that. Get yourself ready for some attacking teams. Maybe because Atleti have had quite a few defensive injuries recently, Simeone's kind of gone, all right, can't defend like we want to. Let's try and attack and surprise everyone. But it's going to be interesting. But I do think the defence will be able to handle it.
Going to be interesting, mate. I'll tell you what, let's have a little look at what we predicted for tonight, because it's time for Play Predictor presented by Carabao. You could win a £100 Megastore voucher and a signed shirt if you top tonight's leaderboard. All you need to do is get yourself on the fifth stand up and get your predictions in before 7 o'clock. So you've got a couple of minutes to go and get those in really quickly. On Saturday, Bonnie from Zambia won with a huge 83 points, which if you've never played Play Predictor before, 83 is a very, very good total. A very good total indeed. Here's what we've gone for tonight then. Myself, Pat and Jason have gone for 1-1 draws, and Zach has gone for a 2-0. Pat, 1-1 for you tonight then.
Of course, this is before we saw the teams. But I would probably stick with that just now. I do actually think there's going to be goals tonight, because I think they're a team that wants to go and try and get something, as I say, out of this game. And by doing that, I think Timo Werner has waited a long time to find a team that he can get to run behind. Because the most of the time he's playing for Chelsea the last little while, he's come up against packed defences and they've been really, really deep. So I think this will suit Timo Werner. What will be intriguing, very intriguing, I think, is to find out what we will play up front as a three. It's a suggestion we might play two up front with Werner and Giroud. Maybe it'd be more sensible if you had Giroud up front and Mount and Werner almost as inside forwards behind them. I think that looks much better to me. But that gives Werner the opportunity to run from deep and to use that pace he has. And I'd love that chance to happen. The other big thing about us and why I think we will score is every time, and I know I do go on about it a bit, but every time that Mount and Hudson-Odoi are in the same part of the pitch, they seem to create something together. They work together wonderfully. And of course, it led to our penalty kick at the weekend there as well. And that's why I'm very positive we'll get a goal. And a 1-1 would do for us.
Jace, it sounds like me, you and Pat have been quite cautious, but for those perhaps that aren't too familiar with the away goals rule, just talk through how important a goal tonight would be, yeah? And a 1-1 draw would be a fantastic result in that respect.
Yeah, a draw. I mean, a draw isn't a bad result. 0-0 they would prefer. 1-1 we would prefer for the obvious reasons, because then they have to come out and score. 1-1 takes us through if it's 0-0 at Stamford Bridge. And I've seen so much, as we all have, and most people watching this, how important sometimes that away goal can be. It can change everything. I don't know whether you saw Juventus last week. They were 2-0 down. And, the game, you feel as though it's gone away from them. They get a late goal, and all of a sudden changes the whole complex of the tie. That now they just need one goal and they're through. So it's so crucial. If we don't get it, it's not a disaster, but all of a sudden, you concede at home, you then have to beat them. So look, they can sometimes be absolutely invaluable, but it's not a disaster if we don't get it.
Zach, I want to tie your prediction into what the kind of the wider context will be, because obviously Atletico are notoriously very good at home. But like we've already alluded to, and it's no secret, due to COVID that they can't fulfill that fixture at home due to restrictions and everything like that. So this is a difficult task for them. In essence, they're on the back foot from the outset. The advantage is handed away in our favour because of that. So you've gone for 2-0 tonight. Has that played into your mind as to why you think we're going to get that result?
Yeah, for sure. The Wanda Metropolitano it's a fairly new stadium. They've been able to make it a fortress since moving into there. And as you've seen, half the reason they've had such great success this year has been with their home results in the league. I mean, questions over maybe the rest of the league this season in Spain, whether they have been quite up to scratch, but Atleti have been able to do well. Apart from maybe recently, they've struggled a little bit. They lost to Levante on the weekend, who have actually been doing pretty well this season too. So for them, they go into this in an area that they've had to travel, they've had to sleep in another hotel, they've had to sleep in a different country, different time zones, things like that. Actually, I don't know about the time zones fully for sure, but not too sure. But yeah, so it's for them, it's going to basically be like an away game. This is our legitimate away game. Whatever happens in this game, then the next game is going to be another away game for them. They don't have the familiarity or the comfortableness of having their home dressing room, knowing where they are in the stadium, things like that. They may not be a massive factor, because at the end of the day, it's still a football pitch. You play football, that's the big thing. But it's these little things that maybe will take a little bit of, maybe will play a little bit on their mind and kind of maybe make them worry a little bit more. Just more subconscious stuff rather than something that's going to concede a goal and things like that.
Completely agree, mate. Completely agree. Well, our hot topic one for tonight is, I mean, it's a fairly big one, but it's a massive week ahead. We play Atletico Madrid tonight. We have Manchester United on Sunday, and then in about 10 days' time, a week Thursday, we play Liverpool. Jace, this is a massive week for Thomas Tuchel. Pat's already alluded to it. Perhaps it might work in our favour because you've got teams perhaps that aren't going to sort of camp in and play against us. And over the last sort of 18 months or so, we've seen Chelsea at their best when teams want to attack us and we can actually open up the game, play a little bit more. But this is the first real test that Thomas Tuchel has had as Chelsea boss. Yeah. Is tonight more important to get a result purely because it's Atletico Madrid in the Champions League? Or as a wider context, is it important to get a result to start momentum ahead of what is a big week?
I mean, your results are what keep managers in jobs, and performances also. He's got to get. He wants to get something out of this game to take back to Stamford Bridge, and I firmly believe that we will have enough and go in that return fixture. But because the game's come so thick and fast, we have risen up that table. We were 10th when he first took over, and we're now 4th. You're absolutely right. This is his first test. It's a big week, big 10 days coming up for him. Season defining, maybe, possibly. But whatever happens over the next 10 days or so, he's going to be relying on this squad, the depth of this squad, because there's some big games. We're already looking at this thinking, who is going to be playing against United? How can he change things for Liverpool coming up as well? But he's coming to do a job. The most important thing for me from right here, right now, is the league. But of course, when your Champions League comes along, we know this Chelsea side in the past, the best Chelsea side never won the Champions League. The best one that I've seen. Many times we could have got to that final, and perhaps when we did get to the final, should have won it. You need a little bit of luck, maybe a referee's decision to go in your favour as well. But the Man United game, they're all huge. Even the game at Southampton, I felt that was 2 points dropped Saturday. 2 big points dropped, bearing in mind what West Ham done, what happened to Liverpool as well. So, you can only think about today, even though you're absolutely right, it is a huge 10 days.
Pat, he'll learn a lot about his players and I suppose the mentality more than anything, because there was a big thing made about the Callum Hudson-Odoi substitution at the weekend. Callum starts tonight. I think everything that we've seen since then has been positive in the way that Thomas Tuchel has spoken about. He's been very honest about the decision why he made it, and Callum has been, so according to Cesar Azpilicueta in the press conference, and Thomas Tuchel, he's reacted incredibly well. Tonight's his opportunity. He'll learn a lot about the mentality and what kind of players he's got under him through big tests like today, but also in this run of fixtures in general, won't he? Because big players stand up to the plate in big moments when you need them to, and if he's got 10, 15 of those within the squad, this is the time for them to show him.
Yeah, if you look back at, take Callum Hudson-Odoi for a start. I mean, his European appearances have been brilliant generally. He hasn't always been Champions League, but he's looked fantastic in European games. And I think European football suits certain players better than others. And I actually think Callum's one of them, and it really works. And as I say, Mason Mount, as we know, has been absolutely brilliant in that situation as well. So you've got, Champions League players that are, these lads have learned a lot in a very, very short period of time. So I'm completely and utterly relaxed about that and their capabilities to do something. Looking ahead to all the other games, I try not to get too panicked about them. The reason being, it changes every single week. We think we know where we are. Mm-hmm. So, Jason, I agree with Jason. Yes, 2 points dropped against Southampton. But I'll tell you what, in 3 weeks' time, you might not think that because the madness of it. I mean, and you're getting Liverpool coming up now. Oh, look at their results, man. They're having a shock. And obviously, I was very keen that Everton win the other night against them. But they're not the team they were as well. And the big thing we have to keep on remembering about this, I would say apart from Man City, alongside Man City, I don't think anyone's got a better squad than us. So when these games are coming thick and fast during Champions League times, we're where we want to be. I mean, we were looking at this team today. Would any of us probably guessed it absolutely right? Maybe not. Had he made 5 different changes here, would we have said, that's terrible? No, we wouldn't have. And that's the joy that we've got at this moment in time. We've got right good players. We've got a fantastic depth of squad. We've got big games coming up. But I think we have to worry about them less than anybody else.
Completely agree. And just carrying on from that point, actually, Zach, because Pat's made a terrific point about, the squad depth that we've got. You think that Kai Havertz is back in the squad tonight, as is Christian Pulisic. We're without Thiago Silva, but hopefully he might be available for the weekend. On the bench, we've got N'Golo Kanté, Tammy Abraham again, hopefully the injury or what he's recovered from recently, Hakim Ziyech, Billy Gilmore, Reece James. The depth of players that we've got, bearing in mind that Manchester United, for example, have got a game on Thursday night in the Europa League, haven't got as deep a squad as us. And, if we're being a little bit unkind, if Bruno Fernandes doesn't play well, they're not the same side anyway. So when you do look at that and you see the ability that Chelsea have got and the depth that Chelsea have got, games like tonight are a good example and a good opportunity for players that perhaps aren't in the starting lineup, if they do get the nod, to say, no, I'm going to stake a claim for the weekend, because I know that if I come on and make an impact in 20, 30 minutes, there's a good chance I'll play either Sunday or against Liverpool next Thursday.
Yeah, for sure. And the thing with the Champions League as well, there's 5 substitutions. So even more players can come on and kind of make their mark into the game. Watching Kanté against Southampton, he was fantastic. Maybe one of the best players on that pitch. He was really, really good and looked like he was kind of back into his form again. And so he, he'll look at this, and if he comes on in this game, he'll be thinking, okay, I need to make sure I'm into that Manchester United squad. And maybe that's part of his thinking as well, because Jorginho and Cover and Kanté is basically a flip of a coin at the moment on who's starting and who's not, and that kind of thinking. But you're definitely right. For players like Pulisic, for players like Tammy, who maybe look at this game and think, I could have been starting, then it's definitely about when you do get given your chance, because we know we like to rotate, we know we like to make substitutions. Tuchel is not afraid to, as we've seen, not afraid to make a substitution at half-time, not afraid to take a player off, even if he's been subbed off. Who knows? Today we might even see a substitution in the first half, but you never know what happens. And so if you do get that call up, you need to make sure that you're on point and you're ready, because there are games coming up where you can take a claim, and if you perform well, you could be in that starting 11.
Absolutely right, mate. Well, let's have a little listen to what the boss had to say as he looks ahead to his first taste of Champions League football as Chelsea manager.
You have a tremendous record and fantastic experience within the Champions League. With that in mind, how big a test do you think this trip to Atletico will prove to be?
Well, we expect a tough match, because Diego Simeone is no words needed for the achievement of this man in his club. He transformed this club into warriors every year. They are so strong. They are so solid. They are so mentally strong. He transforms every player into a team player. You can see that the team is always first. They are hard to beat. They are the leaders in Spain, in a strong connection with a coach who is the face for Atletico. Strong individual quality combined with this mentality. This is one of the toughest challenges that you can have in this moment in the round of 16, but we are here for these kind of challenges, and we will do everything to beat them and to enter quarterfinals.
From a football perspective, Thomas, what have you found to be the differences so far between the Premier League and the other leagues that you've worked in already?
Well, it is the most demanding league. Nobody stops until the whistle goes. They have incredible intensity in the games. It's better not to look at the fixtures before a game, because it tells you nothing if this team is 7th place, 9th place, or 19th place. It does change nothing. They rely on their intensity. They rely on their structure. They are full of confidence in their way of playing football. It's a very self-confident approach every team has, and it's strong quality individually and as teams.
What would you say is the key, without giving too much away, of course, of going up against a team like this and hopefully getting a positive result?
The key will be that we play, that we adapt to the mentality of Aspi, of our captain, that we make no difference. So this is easier, much easier to say than to do, that we make no difference if we play a team from Barnsley in the Cup, or we play in Tottenham, or we play Burnley at home, or we play in Southampton, or we play in Bucharest against Atletico. Of course, all teams are different. All teams are different on a different level of quality, and of course, Champions League is the toughest competition in Europe. but this is the spirit. We want to be brave. We want to impose our style. We want to control the game. We want to be self-confident, and at the same time humble enough to work 100% as a team. And we will clearly show situations and spaces where we think we can hurt them. And this is where we will focus. We will try to win. We will try to win, as like we try always to find approaches and solutions to win games.
I mean, it's a big night for everyone, Jay. But I suppose Callum Hudson-Odoi is the one that we're and the media and the press have been most focused on the last couple of days, and seeing how he reacts to everything. But one thing that I think we'd all say is any adversity that Callum has had in his career, whether it be an injury or perhaps not starting as many games as he'd like, he's always reacted in the best way possible. And the best thing for Callum to do is to do exactly that again, isn't it? He's such a phenomenal footballer, and we've seen since Christmas how good he can be.
Yeah, look, it was harsh, that no sub wants to be subbed, and we all felt for him. And sometimes managers have got to make decisions, tough decisions for the best of the team. Now, you could make an argument that perhaps maybe you could bought Werner off, and I understand that argument, but Thomas Tuchel has come out and made the point that actually he didn't follow instructions, and that's not what was not good enough. We clearly know that he's a fan. He's played pretty much every single. I think he played every single game. If he hasn't, he started more than he hasn't. So clearly, Thomas Tuchel is a big fan, and he's a champion of what he does, and he's clearly found a new position for him that benefits the best of the team. So I don't think we can worry too much about that. Going back to the point you're making about his mentality now, well, he needs to put in a performance. He needs to try forget what's happened. That's done. That's over. You can't affect that anymore. And now we want to make sure that he proves a few people wrong. Wants to make sure that he justifies being in that team. And he has responded. Look, whenever I've seen him play at this right wing back, he's been excellent. Going forward, defensively, he's understood his responsibilities as well. That's been a real plus for us, because at times, thinking about the type of player he is, you may be forgiven to think, has he gone to sleep? Has he missed that? You remember the Dundonka challenge against Wolves? They sat in all day. All of a sudden, they break down their left, our right, and you see Callum at the top of our screen, getting the afterburners on, because he's got to get back. Because if he doesn't, and they get that shot away, the chances are they win that game 1-0. So it's a massive game for Callum. Of course it is. Forget what happened. He's got that shirt on merit.
Like Jay said there, Pat, we clearly know that Thomas Tuchel's a massive fan, even just the way that he's spoken about him since the weekend. But does it help when you I suppose, when you know the manager's a fan? Because we've seen it with other young players. The one example that has been used quite a lot, which is a Premier League example, which is Moise Kean when he was at Everton, and Duncan Ferguson, I think, brought him on and brought him off about 10 minutes later or something like that. But that was a different scenario because he hadn't got a look in at all since Ferguson had been in caretaker charge. When you've got a manager that you clearly know has got your best interests at heart, is it easier to accept a decision like that because you know that he's doing it in a way that's, I suppose, he's doing it a level playing field, and that's the kind of manager he is?
I don't think it's ever easy, except coming up and going off back again. I'm sure I'm not the only one. I watched it twice. I watched the entire time that he was on the pitch twice over, and didn't watch any of the game. I just watched every single movement he made, and I know why Tuchel did it, and I absolutely do know why he did it. I think it was hard, but I know why he did it, and it was reactions off the ball, and you can see it when you go and watch it very, very closely. Now, to be honest, there's plenty of players that reactions off the ball aren't perfect a lot of the time. And I think the point is, I think Tuchel sees in him a fantastic player, right? Not a good player, a fantastic player. That's why he plays all the time. And I was thinking about the other night, and it's like a crossroads. And he's at a crossroads just now, Callum. And there's two ways to go, and I hope you follow me here. One way is Theo Walcott, and the other way is Raheem Sterling. And you can go one of those two ways. And it's not that Theo wasn't a good player, but there's two ways to go now. And you've got the talent to go those two ways. And if it's hard love that does it, then he'll do that. If it's nice cuddles, he'll do that as well. I think it's Thomas Tuchel thinks you can be unbelievable. And I want to make sure you're unbelievable all the time. So it's a hard lesson. I'm not sure it's a bad one.
Completely right. Zach, we're running short on time because I'm sure that we could do this show for about 10 hours in a build up to such a big game. So just a quick word from you on Olivier Giroud, because he's been in frightening form in the Champions League this year. He's only started one game, 3 sub-appearances, but does mean on average, bearing in mind he scored 4 in Seville, that he's scored every 28 minutes he's been on the pitch in the Champions League so far this season. To bring in a player with that sort of record, the experience, the level that he always performs, what a bonus to have him available tonight.
Oh, 100%. And he'll make it tough for those defenders. Not only have those defenders got to deal with the pace of Werner on the wing, they've then also got to deal with the physicality of Giroud. And I'm sure we'll be putting great crosses into that box and really testing them. And the long balls, it's going to be a really, really interesting game, and maybe a bit of a duo between Giroud and Werner. I think it could work quite nicely.
Definitely, mate. Good link up to look out for. Obviously, plenty more build up to tonight. Chelsea in Champions League last 16 action with Atletico Madrid. Plenty more to come. But first, let's have a little look at the manager's pre-match press conference from yesterday in full.
I was listing your achievements, Thomas, domestically in foreign countries and so far here in the Premier League.
Yeah, okay.
But it's the Champions League, your big priority personally.
No. My priority is very simple. My priority is always the game we play, and has never been different and will hopefully never change, because it's exactly what I expect from all my players in all my teams, that when we wear the Chelsea shirt, we play a Chelsea game, and that means we play to win, and we play to give 100% of effort, of intensity, and of what is possible in this day. This might be someday better and someday not so good, and it always depends on the opponent and the circumstances, but there are no preferences, not for me, and this is what I expect from my players. It's very nice. It's amazing and exciting to play Champions League games, knockout stage. You know that you arrive on the highest level when you play Atletico in first round of knockout. Then you know that you are asked on your highest level, and this is what we want to have. So we feel confident, we feel excited, and at the same time focused. It's the right mix to arrive in Bucharest.
One more.
Is Thiago available, and is this a game for his kind of experience?
It is, but he's not available. He is training right now while we are leaving in the next minutes, so he did not do training with the squad and is not available.
James, talk sport.
Hi Thomas, a lot was made of Callum Hudson-Odoi coming off on Saturday. What's his reaction been like since, and have you had to speak to him one-to-one after what happened against Southampton?
First of all, we decided to speak to him in front of the whole group, because I had my reasons to do it. Was it the right decision? Well, I don't know. It was my decision in this moment. And for us in the group, we spoke in front of the whole group to not make it bigger than it is, because for us was not a big thing. I know that it could be sometimes, and sometimes you reflect while you do it, should I do it, because maybe the media and outside and family and whatever makes it bigger than it actually is meant. Still, I did it, and we had the only reaction that we wanted was he went back to normal mood, to a good mood, to a smile, to good training on the next day, to a very, very good training today, and that's it. I already said right after the game, this is the decision for today. This is the lesson to learn from today, for him, for me also. And we go on, and then it's forgotten, and it's absolutely the way. So in here in Coben, between us two, between me and the team, business as usual, no big thing.
Nizar Kinsella.
Hi Thomas, I just wanted to ask, how's Kai Havertz and how's Christian Pulisic headed the match, and is there any other injury doubts for the game?
I'm very happy that both of them are in the group. They trained with us. They have no complaints. And I'm happy they travel with us and are in the squad for tomorrow.
Pablo Lopez.
Hi, Mister.
Hi.
The day of draw, and Pablo Lopez from Radio Marca in Madrid. Day of the draw, this round of champions, you were the Paris coach. What do you think about this playoff, these knockouts between Chelsea and Atletico at that moment? And what your vision has changed about now that you're in London, you're the Chelsea's coach. Your vision has changed. Thank you.
What has changed? My vision. My vision has changed because in my beliefs, the vision of a coach changes with the team and the club where you work. Is for me a given that you trust the club, that you respect the structure and the power of a club, that you respect the culture of any country where you work, and you adapt to your players and to the style and to the characteristic of the team. This is for me my job to do, and I feel happy to do this because this keeps me keeps me awake, and this keeps me going on forward and adapting and developing. This is how I see myself. It is a bit strange, like you said, to play a group stage with one team in a different country, to arrive knockout and suddenly play knockout with another team. Yeah, I agree, but honestly, I'm here now since 3.5 weeks, and I jumped into this opportunity. I did not regret one single minute. I'm totally into Chelsea. I'm totally into this club, and I'm 100% into this team. And that's why it does not feel so strange anymore. It feels natural to arrive now with my team in Bucharest, and I'm very happy to arrive with this group in Bucharest. We feel strong. We know that we have to be strong, brave, and courage to play against a strong Atletico. But this is the challenge that we are looking forward.
John Southall, BBC.
Thomas, from what you've seen of your squad so far, how well equipped do you think they are to compete in the latter stages of the Champions League? And also, do you think you've got an advantage playing in a neutral venue?
Well, yeah, clearly, yeah, because it's a disadvantage for Atletico to lose their home ground. We don't have to talk around that. That is obvious. So are we well equipped? Yeah, I feel clearly yes. It's very easy to answer. I love what I see on a daily basis here in Cobham. I love what I feel. I love what I see. The quality, the intensity in training, and the enthusiasm, the hunger to compete. I like what I feel, a strong bond between the players. I feel a strong club, and I like the games. There are a lot of good behaviors, and I trust in the quality individual, and then trust in us as a group. Once you arrive on this stage, there is no other approach than to overperform as a group, and this is only possible if you feel the bond between the players, if you are involved as a coach, and I feel all these things. That's why I'm very, very happy and excited to arrive in Bucharest, because since I arrived, I have every time the feeling when we arrive for a match that we are ready, and that we have all right to trust the boys out there on the pitch. We have the possibility to take 23 players. We have the possibility to do 5 changes. Gives us a lot of possibilities that we will use.
Jacob Steinberg.
Hi Thomas. Atletico are a very tough and streetwise side, which is something that Liverpool found out when they lost to them last season. Will you tell your players maybe to watch out for kind of any intimidation, any kind of wind-up stuff that might come from them? You know, is this maybe a test of their mental strength?
This is for sure a test, and this is for sure a big test, sportive, physically and mentally. This is a very experienced group. This is a very experienced club on this level. This is a very experienced and tough coach to play against. Yeah, it's a big test, and this is exactly what we want. We want the biggest test, because it brings out hopefully the best in us, and we will do it on our way, and they will play their way. It's clear when you play against Atletico what you get. You get a hard fighting, experienced, and a team with a lot of mentality. And there are many teams who experience this. There are leaders in Spain right now, but we have our qualities, and this. The focus is on us.
Fred Calderia.
Hi, Thomas.
Hi.
I would like to ask you about something that Thiago Silva said in a recent interview to us about the weight of playing the Champions League. That is different playing for Chelsea than playing for PSG in this competition. As in, he feels lighter playing the Champions League for Chelsea now, as if the whole success of the season doesn't depend on the Champions League at Chelsea as used to be at PSG. Do you agree?
I can understand that he feels like this. For me as a coach, it never felt like this. But I can understand that Thiago as a player felt like this in Paris, that a lot of judgment is made only, or you have the feeling that it's only to your success in Champions League, because everybody expects you to be champion, domestic champion, everybody expects you to win all cup competitions, and this more or less I can understand when Thiago feels it more or less as a given that you win all the time. When you work like the players and me as a staff and the coach, you know how hard it is to maintain a certain level, to become champions all the time, to win every knockout game in the cup, and to arrive on top on a Champions League level. And so from the very inside, I felt it like a big competition and like a big challenge to become every year champion and to arrive in cup finals every year. Because you feel it every day what is needed to have this mentality. From outside, I can understand that he feels like this because the value and the competition we are in Premier League is a much higher value than it is for Paris in the domestic league. That's why he maybe feels like this. In general, it should always feel like this. It is sports, it is highest level in sports, and to a certain degree we have to feel light, and we have to look onto the chances this brings and to the joy this brings to compete on this level. And hopefully we feel more the joy and more the adventure in it than the pressure.
Okay, we've got time for two more. Last two, Matt Dunn and then Andy Dillon to finish. Matt.
Hi, Thomas.
Hi.
There seems to be little secret that you tried very hard to sign Luis Suarez in September, or wanted your club to sign him at least. What is it you like about him as a player, and are you aware of his history with Chelsea specifically?
No, I'm not aware of the history with Chelsea.
Just unmute yourself.
Yeah, the biting incident in 2013. I don't know if it's cool. Okay. But generally, what do you make of him as a player, and why were you so keen on him?
Well, there was a possibility. We heard the rumors that he is about to leave Barcelona, who cannot be interested to sign one of the best strikers in world football, in history and in present world football. So we tried our luck. We did not make it. He chose to stay in Spain. He changed for Atletico, and again he proves his quality. Is a natural striker. I think is a born striker, born as a striker, and he has the certain mentality that only strikers have, and this mentality to show his will, his intensity, his anger, and to score, and is never satisfied. So what a mentality, what a player. I'm not involved in his history with Chelsea, and for me it's never a good thing to look too far behind and to look too far behind. We look up front, and we play him tomorrow, and he plays for Atletico. And we know about his qualities, and we will be very aware of it, and we try to hold him back from scoring.
Last question, Andy Dillon.
Good afternoon, Thomas. How are you?
Hi, I'm fine. And now I'm excited about your question.
Please don't flatter me too much, please. First of all, just a very quick one. I'm assuming that Hudson-Odoi is travelling with you and could still start the game.
Sure.
He's shown good. And your answer to Matt there has kind of thrown me a bit and made me change direction. So if Luis Suarez were to become available again in the near future, would you consider working with them again? Would you still be attracted by that possibility?
I don't know. I don't know.
Yes.
No, I don't know. I don't know, because what's the moment? What's the particular moment? Could have would have maybe been a fit to our squad in Paris. Now things are different. Did not spend 1 second, and I think he's under contract, and it's not worth thinking about it, honestly. And I haven't, and the possibility is high that we will not think about it.
A neutral venue for a very, very well-balanced Champions League clash tonight. It's the 8th time that Chelsea squared up with Atletico Madrid at the 5th different venue. How about that? 2 wins each and 3 draws. So who will tip the balance tonight? We are joined by a very special guest who knows far too much about this fixture for us to not get him involved. Welcome to Matchday Live, Mark Schwarzer. Mark, how are you, mate? You well?
Yeah, I'm very well, thank you.
Thank you for joining us. Obviously, I know that that you're doing quite a lot of football coverage, so we'll get straight to it because, yeah, we do need to talk about 2014. I saw an amazing quote that I'm hoping this is correct because it was for someone that you do a lot of work for, a lot of coverage for. So the quote was something along the lines of, you said to Jose when he asked you to come on off the bench was, "Relax, I'm ready."
Yeah, because he was obviously very, very animated himself. Obviously, probably he's used to a lot of players not being quite ready off the bench, and I was always someone that was already stretched. I had my shin pads done, everything was done. All I had to do was take my tracksuit pants off, my trackie stuff off, and put my gloves on, and I was ready. And I just don't think he was. He was obviously watching the injury unfold on the pitch, the treatment, getting them information, telling me to get ready and rushing around. He was a little bit panicky in that regard, and I just went, "Hey, boss, relax. I'm ready. It's okay."
I love that. I know that's a proper a pet peeve of Pat as well, players not being ready. We've had this conversation on many occasions when he's fuming up in the gantry because someone's not got their pads on or someone's still tying their boots on and everything. But just on that game, Mark, because obviously you're playing Atletico Madrid, Champions League semi-final. What's it like coming off the bench in a game in that magnitude so early on? Because we were less than 20 minutes into the game as well.
Yeah, I was just looking at it today, actually, 18 minutes into the game. I mean, I knew it was early, and I remember just sitting on the side of on the bench and thinking, okay, here we go again. Peter hasn't been injured all year. It was unlike him because he had injuries leading up to that number of years in a row. And I thought, okay, this is where we are. Champions League semi-final. This is brilliant. This is what it's about. And this is going to be one hell of a game. And so you just sort of settle in. I'm drinking my recovery shake because obviously I worked quite hard in the warm-up with all the shooting from all the guys. And then all of a sudden, he goes down injured. And the thing was, even when he went down injured, I actually initially didn't think it was too serious, because Peter's also been one of those that quite regularly, particularly in that season, he would get treatment on the pitch. Like the physios would come on, and a couple of times I got up and I started to get ready, and then I realised, actually, hang on, this is kind of normal. Peter gets calls on the physios quite regularly here, so I'm going to just relax a little bit. And then this one, as the players around, you could see on the pitch were looking a little bit more concerned, and then started to kind of wave towards the bench. I started to realise, actually, okay, this is a little bit more serious. So how do you feel about it? You know what? You warm up as best as you possibly can. You prep as best as you possibly can. Nothing can replicate when you know you're starting the game. However, you try and be as close to that as possible. And that's what I also prided myself on that when I was at Chelsea particularly. I was always 100% ready to come on at any stage of the game. Obviously, you can't foresee what's going to happen, but you can only put yourself in the best possible position and prepare the best possible way to perform at your best when given an opportunity. And I felt I did that.
Absolutely. I mean, absolutely. They kept it a clean sheet. I mean, that's more than enough evidence there, Mark. I tell you what, I want to get your opinion on our one to watch tonight, which is someone that we've spoken about every week on this show. And again, I'm pretty sure we could do an hour, 2 hours alone on this player because we've been so impressed with him. His influence on Chelsea is paramount. I mean, it's his 34th appearance of the season already tonight for Mason Mount. But how impressed have you been with Mason so far this season?
I've been very impressed, like everyone else. I was incredibly impressed with his performances last season, and this season, again, I think he's actually been even had more consistency, been better overall. And that's always a challenge for a lot of young players, is that when they first break onto the scene, is to, the expectation is not so great, and people kind of give them a lot more leeway. They deliver at a certain level. And then when they start to do that over the course of a season, sometimes players, or quite often you see with players, the reality after a while, the fatigue, mental fatigue, physical fatigue hits in, and they find it difficult to replicate it. But what Mason's done really well is he's been able to replicate it in it, and at times actually exceed performances from last season. I think he's matured tremendously. I spoke to him after the game at Southampton. I interviewed him for Australian TV. He's very, very confident, well assured, and he speaks very, very well, thinks about what he says. And that, for me, it sums him up, that he's really matured. And one of the big reasons why he's sort of kind of the go-to player at the moment, even though he's one of the youngest players on the pitch.
Completely agree. And Jay, just on that, because his maturity, he's 22 years old. He's already worn the armband this season. And I mean, John Terry on his Instagram story the other week, flagging him to be a future Chelsea and England captain. And I don't think anyone is surprised at that, especially anyone that's seen him every week. But his maturity and how important he is to Chelsea now is because a lot of people, rightly or wrongly, but a lot of people ask questions about, whether a new manager coming in would affect his level of performance, because, he's perhaps not got a manager that he idolised in the same way that he did with Frank. But straight away, he's shown within 20 minutes of coming on in the first game against Wolves how important he is to Chelsea.
Yeah, and I think I felt a bit sorry for Mason when Frank was here, because there was always that tag of teacher's pet, and Mason's in the team because of that. Well, he's now proven everyone wrong. The fact that he's in the side, he's there on merit, and he's there because he deserves to be there. He's been our best player. He's been our most consistent player. He makes things happen. His energy levels, his determination. He wears that badge on his heart there, and he plays with it exactly the same way as John Terry used to. There is something about him that gets, I think, the rest of the team going. And at times you look around the more experienced players, and there's been some times this season where I've been a little disappointed in some of the more experienced players. Mason steps up, you know what you're going to get. And he's more than just that, though. The boy has quality. The boy has got amazing ability, and he's only going to get better. As you said there, what he's already done in the short time that he's been a professional footballer back at this club. Don't forget, he went to Vitesse. He was the player of the year there. Had a brilliant time at Derby. I spoke to a lot of people that worked at Derby at the time, in and around the media, telling me how well he was doing, because I didn't see him every week. He's come back. I thought his first game for Chelsea against United showed a maturity beyond his years. I thought he was our best player on the day, even though we got beat 4-0. And he keeps getting better. And he is one of the first names on the team sheet, I'm guessing. And Thomas Tuchel, if he didn't know a huge amount about Mason before he came here, he does now.
Absolutely right, and you're 100% right. He's obviously in the team for Chelsea tonight. A big European night. We've had plenty of big Champions League knockout stages over the years, haven't we? We've experienced some very, very special nights as well. So let's remind ourselves of some right here.
It's onside this time. Johnson galloping up in the middle. It's Annika Johnson. It's still Johnson. It's 1-0 Chelsea. What a great start. That's exactly what they needed. Working well for Cole. The shot's deflected and it's in. Frank Lampard's made it 2. This is dreamland for Chelsea. They might be watching another goal here. It's Duff. He's through. This is unbelievable. Ben, I'm absolutely speechless. I can't believe it. Corner to Barcelona. Oh, and a header from Puyol. And Cech kept it out. This time it was Chelsea who switched off at the back in a corner. And Petr Cech's kept Chelsea in it. And again, it comes from Cole. Towards Drogba. Good header. Shevchenko. And Ballack has scored! Michael Ballack with a massive goal that gives Chelsea 1 foot, only 1 foot line in the quarter-finals of the Champions League.
Danger here for Chelsea. Hamsik, Marek Hamsik, Cavani, Maggio off the line. Brilliantly off the line by Ashley Cole.
He's done well there, Ashley, hasn't he? Okay, I guess you could say he's had a little bit of good fortune, right place, right time.
Deeper this time. Flicked on. Oh, Mikel! John Mikel Obi! Away goal! Right
brilliant and stunning. Absolutely brilliant. What a first touch. Well, he doesn't score many, does he, John? But I tell you what, we won't forget this one.
He's giving him a yard. He's trying to thread it through for Larsson, and Larsson must go. No! Fantastic goal line clearance from who else but John Terry.
Well, he's certainly made up for that unfortunate header that he had there. We thought Larsson was going to score. JT to the rescue.
Ballack. Chance maybe. Belletti. It was Drogba! Second away goal for Chelsea, and that will surely put the Blues through to the quarter-finals. Didier Drogba, once again.
Might be in again here. Here's Iniesta. Ronaldinho trying something clever, and in. What an extraordinary goal. Time seems to stand still sometimes when he's on the ball, and he's just dinged that out of nowhere. And Petr Cech was rooted to the spot.
I don't know how he got it into the net, to be honest with you.
I just feel like every time there's a set piece, there's going to be a chance. It's Terry's header, and it's in! The captain's done it again!
Unbelievable, John Terry. We're talking about him earlier, how impressive he is in the air. He's got to be one of the best in Europe at attacking the ball in the opposition's box.
And he's got the ball through to Drogba.
Go!
Ivanovic!
Yes! Get in there!
Chelsea needed a hero. They found one in Branislav Ivanovic. And Stamford Bridge has liftoff. 4-1. 4-1.
Zach, we know that nights like tonight are special, but how special are nights like tonight? Knockout stages, Champions League, the music's going on, Atletico Madrid. You know, you've got Luis Suarez up front for the opposition. These are big ones, aren't they?
This is the beauty of football, right? The top teams of every country coming against each other, the best players facing off against each other. Really, the only other time you see it like this is the World Cup or the Euros or like an international competition. It's my favourite competition there is, and I love every moment of it. And then when you're in the knockout stages, it means even more. I don't know if people have been lucky enough to go to Stamford Bridge during a Champions League night, but nothing beats it under the lights. It's rained a little bit. The grass is skimming for the ball. It's beautiful. I was lucky enough to go to the Ajax game last season. It was fantastic. I mean, the only thing that can probably better it is actually being a player. So Mark's topped me on that one. But yeah, I'm buzzing. I can't wait. It's just, I wish we had our fans then. I wish it was at Atletico Madrid Stadium just for the beauty of the Champions League. But you know what? We're seeing them play against each other, so I'll take it.
Pat, we've seen that all across social media today. Chelsea fans reminiscing of the playing at the Wanda Metropolitano a few years ago when Batshuayi gets a last-minute winner, and it gets you all nostalgic, doesn't it? It gets you missing football even more. But also, I can't remember being this excited for a game for a good while, because this feels special. You know, games at the moment, they come so thick and fast. We're very spoilt with the amount of top-level football that we get to see at the moment. But still, games like tonight do get you a little bit more excited than most, don't they?
Yeah, definitely 100%. I mean, we are seeing a massive amount of Premier League games. You turn on the telly most nights and you can watch 3 games if you like. You know? Something has to lift it out of, I'm not going to call it the mundane, but certainly the ordinary. And this is lifted out of the ordinary. And of course, it's the uncertainty of this now. It's a cup game. Obviously, it's 2 legs, but we don't know tonight. I mean, 3 of us have went for a draw tonight, but we wouldn't be surprised by a win. We wouldn't be surprised by a defeat. And that's the joy of this level of the Champions League. You know, we can actually beat anyone, and anyone could probably beat us on the day. You need to bring your A game to these sort of games. And that's what we get excited about. If you turn on a football game in the Premier League, and sometimes it's, you know, one of the top is Man City against, well, anyone, you know, they're going to win. You know? Whereas you don't know that now. And that's why we love football. That's why we love sport. But when it's at the elite level here, that's why we get excited. So you don't have to act this one up. We're up for it.
Mark, Zach's already alluded to it. I could lie and tell you that, you know, I'd have made it pro weren't it for an ankle injury when I was younger, but it was an overwhelming lack of ability, the reason I didn't make it. I'll front that, absolutely not a problem. It's the reason I'm sat here talking to you rather than playing. But Just talk us through as a player how you get ready for a Champions League night, because like Zach said, we see it. There's a little bit of mist in the air. That there's a Champions League music. All these things are so special. But as a player, do you have to drown all that out, or do you soak it all up? What were you like?
Well, I think the whole lead up, there is a bit of something different to it, because the lead up is a little bit different. The press conference leading up to a game, the opening 15 minutes of the training session. So there was always a lot of media there at training. So that broke it up a little bit. It's not your normal Premier League game. And then the rest of that is pretty standard. I mean, the preparation, the training, the going through the meetings, all of that's pretty standard. The only difference is obviously you're analysing an opposition that you're not so used to. You're not playing against them every other week or seeing them play every other week regularly, and you're not competing against them in your domestic league. But I think for me, when it really hit was when the team lines up and then the Champions League anthem is played. I mean, that is really, really special. And it's a time that I think as a player, you then go, right, this is the big stage. This is the moment. And this is where we're coming up against the best of the best.
I don't think there's a song that I've heard that frequently and yet still know none of the words to. It's a very strange thing, isn't it? That everyone knows it, but I couldn't tell you one of the words at all. Jay, on to tonight then, because Atletico Madrid, they're doing very well in La Liga. Obviously, a defeat at the weekend, but 3 points clear of Real at the top. I think they're 8 points clear of Barcelona. Got a game in hand on most teams. They're scoring goals and not conceding too many. It's very much what we expect from Atletico. But Pat alluded to it earlier. This might not be classed as one of the great Atletico teams of the last sort of decade or so that we've seen them reach Champions League finals. What do you expect from them tonight? Is it a typical Atletico performance, or do we have to take all those preconceptions and those stereotypes away and look at how they are as a team now?
I've seen too many of Simeone's teams to think that he is going to be just throwing men forward willy-nilly. He will, of course. They will see this as an opportunity. They're away, even though they're at home, they're away from home. It'd be interesting to see how he approaches that side of it. Does he see it as two away games? Does he see this as perhaps maybe we need to approach this differently? I don't know without getting inside his head. The one thing I will say is that they've only kept one clean sheet this calendar year. And that is very un-Simeone-like. They're not as defensively solid as they have been in recent years. This is not a stellar Atleti side, but it is still a Simeone side. I expect it to be very tight, to be honest with you. I expect it to be very cagey. I don't expect there to be too much given away in the early exchanges, but things can change in a match. A referee indecision, a mistake, a gift, a goal that changes the course of the game. But I think from our point of view, I think we need to just go into this and settle ourselves as early as we possibly can, because it does feel a little bit like a lot of these boys in our team don't have as much experience as I'm looking at the opposition here in this competition. We got, look at Callum, look at Mason, look at one or two others. Thiago's going to be a big miss for us. We're talking about a man here that knows his way around the Champions League as well as anyone. That is a big miss, looking for someone of that kind of stature in there. But they've got players missing as well. Jimenez is missing Jimenez is a big player for them. And I just feel that this game, as long as we can take this game back to Stamford Bridge, it's still very much alive, and I believe that will be the case. Tuchel knows his way as well. We're talking about a man that was 90 minutes away from winning this tournament last season. So it's hard to know what to expect from them. It really is, because how good is La Liga right now? I just saw Real Sociedad get thumped by Man United. Man United are okay. They're not the greatest side in the world. I see Sevilla get thumped. I see Barcelona get thumped. I just wonder, are they on top of a kind of an average La Liga? Is it a little bit of, is it slightly misguided? They're looking at the league table right now. I don't know. I don't know how good they really are.
We'll be looking at something very different if Diego Simeone isn't wearing an all-black suit with a black tie there. I'll tell you that much. That is one thing that definitely we're going to see tonight. Pat, we're going to let you go, mate, and go and get ready for commentary. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you at half-time. Thank you very much for that, mate. Thomas Tuchel said that Edouard Mendy is the number one keeper at the club at the moment, but he has given Kerr his chance recently. Obviously, Edouard Mendy starts tonight. Pat has been having a look at the advantage of having two top-quality goalkeepers.
One thing you need in every position is competition, and I think we've got that goalkeeper now. Edouard Mendy and Kepa Arrizabalaga will be fighting for that number 1 spot, and there's no worries at all about Mendy's ability to be a shot stopper. He is a big unit, but playing out for the back, he lacks no confidence either. Sometimes it looks as if he's too confident, but that is a big part of the way Chelsea want to play. But as I say, he's a big unit, and we trust him with the shot stopping. However, it's not just going to be him. Kepa's been given a little bit of an opportunity, and his confidence seems to have grown. Sometimes you've got to be lucky, but you've got to be strong as well. And he has been strong, not just physically, but mentally as well. That's a really good save there. And now with this sort of work and this sort of agility, he's asking questions of Mendy. Just what the manager wants.
Well, I mean, it's lucky that we've got you here, Mark, really. So we might as well talk about the goalkeeper situation at the moment. Because obviously you spent majority of your career as a number 1. How do you deal with that pressure? Because I assume, well, I've been told by goalkeepers in the past, you can let us know, this might be an exclusive if you want to let us into a secret or not, but I'm told all goalkeepers get on really well. There's very much a sort of a brotherly love, as it were, in the training ground. You know, you're working really hard Monday to Friday with each other, which perhaps other positions maybe don't have as much of. But how do you deal with that? Because I'm assuming you're very aware, that goalkeeping mistakes are highlighted bigger than anyone else, and if you make a mistake, then there's someone on your coattail straight away.
Yeah. Firstly, I'll address the first part of it, whereby all goalkeepers get on really well and everything else. That's not always the case. What you do though is you get on professionally very well, so you train well together. It's not necessarily you even like each other very much. I mean, I've had it in the past. I've been in teams, particularly in the national team. You've had guys that have been behind you, particularly one guy that I've had throughout my whole career. We don't see eye to eye. I don't like the guy. He doesn't like me that much. And that's the way it is. But professionally, you're very professional. You go about your job. You do the things you need to do. But when it comes to club football, I've also had in club football, guys are upset. They get a chance to play, and then all of a sudden they play well, and you come back from injury and you're back in the side, and they find that really difficult to digest. And the relationship then suffers that way a little bit as well. So it's about finding that balance. And it always is far better when you get on well, when you do have a really good relationship. But that generally works when there's a clear line of sort of hierarchy almost, in terms of clear number 1, clear number 2, 3, and onwards. That's when that works well. The minute that is in question, that's when I think the relationships change a little bit.
Mark, in fairness, if I was the number 2 goalkeeper and you made over 100 appearances for the national team, I wouldn't like you very much either. I'll be brutally honest with you. I'll be brutally honest. There's no way. There's absolutely no chance. But Jace, it's a very good point, isn't there? That hierarchy, that chain of command. I suppose that's why Thomas Tuchel came out after the game the other day when Kepa started and said, look, Edouard Mendy is my number 1 goalkeeper. I suppose there is that need to know where everyone stands.
Without doubt, it's the only position where you can have, for me, a number one. Centre halves we've seen already. You can have 3 different positions in centre half. I've seen Azpilicueta play right back, left back. It doesn't necessarily mean if you're not in the team, you don't play. I think it's vitally important you have a number one. And I think if there is blurred lines, I think it can spread a little bit of doubt, not just amongst the goalkeepers that Mark's just alluded to, but amongst the back line as well. I play with goal. There are certain goalkeepers that you trust more than others. There are certain situations, if there's 5 minutes left and they're bombing men forward and they're putting balls in the box, if your goalkeeper's going to come and claim it. And if he is, he's going to come and collect it and keep hold of it. And there's little things like that. There's back passes. There's moments in games where your goalkeeper, you trust, and you absolutely trust. And I think it works both ways in terms of the back line as well. And you build up a relationship. Everyone talks about a back 4. Really, it's a back 5. That's how I've always seen it. And your goalkeeper is the eyes of everything. He sees everything. And I've been a little disappointed in Mendy's communication. There have been a number of times where Mendy can see everything, where he's got players running back towards him. He has got to give that information. He has got to give that, and he's got to give information. He's got to give it precise, quick information. Keep things simple. That's why I think that own goal was scored against Sheffield United. And I was a little surprised that we saw Azpilicueta given the league game, because it did throw a few questions around. And there was a little bit of doubt, certainly in my mind. What is he thinking? I don't know whether he still has that number one, to be honest with you. I think I want to see how this one actually does play out over the coming weeks.
Interesting to see tonight. And Mark, very quickly as well, what do you expect to see from Atletico tonight?
Well, listen, I mean, this season, Atletico's changed. They've gone to a back three, so they've got the two wing-backs. They're a little bit more aggressive. They're more on the front foot. They actually attack teams a lot more. They're not as defensive-oriented, hence the reason why they've only kept one clean sheet since the turn of the year. So they certainly do want to go forward and attack teams. So I think we're going to find a side. It's difficult, and we're saying that Jason was saying earlier on again, you don't really quite know what you're going to get. You would think, even though they're kind of home but they're away, it is a two-legged. So it is over the two games, and Atletico know how to play two games. They know how to play two-legged competitions. So their overall, the way they've been playing the La Liga could change a little bit because it's Champions League and because it's over two legs. And again, that's what we were saying about earlier on with Jason saying, you just don't know what's going to happen tonight. You don't know how Simeone is going to approach this game. Completely right. And very, very quickly, Mark, what's your prediction for tonight? Oh gosh, listen. I think it'll be really good for Chelsea to, at the very least, get a draw out of it. And I still believe they're well within their capability of winning the game. Well, me and Jay have both gone 1-1. Zach, you've gone 2-0. Like I said, we could have done this show for about 10 hours straight. There's so much build-up, but it's nearly time. So up next is live commentary of the La Liga leaders in a knockout phase of the Champions League. Chelsea versus Atletico Madrid, live from Bucharest. Come on, you Blues.